Ernest Borgnine was born Hermes Ephron Borgnino on January 24, 1917, in Hampton, Connecticut, to Italian immigrant parents who valued hard work and resilience. Growing up during the Great Depression in a modest household left a lasting impression on him, instilling discipline, humility, and a deep respect for labor. His childhood was unsettled when his parents separated, prompting a brief move with his mother to Italy before returning to the United States. Acting was not initially on his radar, and as a young man he drifted through various jobs before finding purpose in military service. In 1935, Borgnine enlisted in the U.S. Navy, beginning a decade of service that included World War II. Rising to the rank of gunner's mate first class, he carried the Navy's structure and toughness with him for life, shaping his straightforward worldview and no-nonsense personality. Discovering acting later. Than most after leaving the Navy, Borgnine faced the uncertainty many veterans experienced, unsure of how to rebuild civilian life. It was his mother who gently nudged him toward acting, recognizing that his commanding presence and expressive face could be assets on stage. Taking her advice, he enrolled at the Randall School of Drama in Hartford and later honed his craft at the Barter Theater in Virginia, a proving ground for serious performers. Unlike many Hollywood hopefuls chasing fame, Borgnine treated acting as a trade rather than a dream, approaching it with the same discipline he had learned in uniform. His Broadway appearance in Harvey in 1951 opened doors, and soon after, he relocated to Hollywood. Though his rugged features didn't fit traditional leading man ideals, they made him unforgettable, allowing him to stand out in a crowded industry hungry for authenticity. Breaking through with grit and humanity. Borgnine's early Hollywood career leaned heavily on tough, intimidating roles, none more impactful than Sergeant Fatso Judson in From Here to Eternity in 1953. His performance was raw, unsettling, and impossible to ignore, instantly establishing him as a reliable character actor with depth. Yet his defining moment arrived in 1955 with Marty, a quiet, tender story that defied Hollywood expectations. Cast as Marty Paletti, a lonely Bronx butcher yearning for connection, Borgnine delivered a deeply human performance that resonated with audiences worldwide. Winning the Academy Award, Golden Globe, and BAFTA for the role, he shattered stereotypes about who could lead a romantic drama. Marty proved that sincerity could outweigh glamour, and Borgnine became a symbol of emotional honesty, showing that vulnerability, when portrayed truthfully, could be just as powerful as strength on screen. A career built on versatility and endurance. Following his Oscar win, Borgnine enjoyed a career remarkable for its longevity and adaptability. He moved effortlessly between genres, portraying soldiers, workers, villains, and mentors with equal conviction. Films such as The Flight of the Phoenix, The Dirty Dozen, and Ice Station Zebra highlighted his ability to anchor ensemble casts with authority and warmth. Television brought him even wider recognition through McHale's Navy, where his comedic timing revealed a lighter, playful side audiences adored. Decades later, his role as Dominic Santini on Airwolf introduced him to a new generation, proving his appeal transcended age. Borgnine never slowed down, continuing to work into his 90s, including voice acting as Mermaid Man on SpongeBob SquarePants. His career wasn't defined by reinvention, but by consistency, professionalism, and an unmistakable presence. A personal life. Marked by growth and change. Behind the camera, Borgnine's personal life reflected both turbulence and growth. Married 5 times, his relationships mirrored different stages of his evolving maturity. Early marriages struggled under the pressures of ambition and constant work, while later ones reflected greater balance. His brief, highly publicized marriage to Ethel Merman became a Hollywood footnote, often discussed with humor rather than bitterness. Borgnine never denied his strong temperament, acknowledging that compatibility required patience he hadn't always mastered early on. His longest and most stable marriage, to Tova Tresnes in 1973, marked a turning point. Their nearly 40-year partnership was built on mutual respect, independence, and unwavering support. Tova became a grounding force, offering stability that allowed Borgnine to enjoy his later years with contentment, pride, and a renewed appreciation for partnership. A man of opinions in a competitive industry. Ernest Borgnine worked during Hollywood's most competitive era, a time when strong personalities often collided. Though publicly courteous, he privately held firm opinions about professionalism, discipline, and respect on set. He valued preparation, punctuality, and teamwork, traits shaped by his military background. When colleagues failed to meet those standards, Borgnine could be blunt, interpreting unprofessional behavior as disrespectful to the craft. These views were less about personal animosity and more about principle. He believed acting was serious work, not indulgence, and he had little patience for ego-driven behavior. While later retellings sometimes exaggerated these sentiments into tales of hostility, Borgnine himself framed them as lessons learned in an industry where trust and reliability mattered. His judgments reflected a working man's ethics rather than malice, shaped by decades of collaboration under demanding conditions. Creative friction with fellow performers. Like many long-serving actors, Borgnine experienced creative friction with some peers whose styles clashed with his own. He admired talent, but struggled with what he perceived as excess sensitivity or theatricality that disrupted production. Borgnine preferred directness, efficiency, and emotional restraint, and he sometimes found method-heavy approaches difficult to work alongside. These differences, while later dramatized, were rooted in contrasting philosophies rather than personal grudges. He believed that emotional authenticity should serve the story, not overshadow it. When tensions arose, Borgnine rarely sought confrontation, instead quietly noting who he felt he worked best with. Over time, stories of these disagreements took on a life of their own. But those close to him emphasized that Borgnine judged situations, not souls. His respect was earned through reliability, not reputation. Strong personalities and uncomfortable sets. Borgnine's long career inevitably placed him alongside forceful personalities who dominated creative spaces. While he respected confidence, he disliked environments where collaboration gave way to control. He was particularly sensitive to how cast and crew were treated, believing everyone on set deserved dignity regardless of status. When he encountered behavior he felt undermined morale, he withdrew rather than escalated. These moments were remembered by others as feuds, though Borgnine saw them as quiet boundaries. He often remarked that filmmaking was teamwork, not competition, and that success depended on trust. His intolerance for disruptive behavior was consistent, whether it came from a star or a newcomer. With time, Borgnine softened his views, acknowledging that different generations approached the craft differently, but his core belief in respect never wavered. Later, reflections and earned wisdom. In his later years, Borgnine reflected on his career with gratitude rather than resentment. He spoke fondly of the opportunities he'd been given and the people who had supported him along the way. Honors such as the Screen Actors Guild Lifetime Achievement Award and his Hollywood Walk of Fame star symbolized peer recognition he deeply valued. Age mellowed his once rigid judgments, and he acknowledged that creative differences were part of any long career. Borgnine focused less on past conflicts and more on mentorship, often encouraging young actors to work hard, stay humble, and respect everyone on set. His voice work and independent film appearances demonstrated that curiosity and passion never left him. By the time he reached his 90s, Borgnine was remembered not for disagreements, but for perseverance, warmth, and unwavering commitment to his craft. A legacy defined by honesty and longevity. Ernest Borgnine passed away on July 8, 2012, at the age of 95, leaving behind a legacy built on authenticity, discipline, and endurance. Cremated with military honors, his life came full circle, honoring both the sailor and the actor he had been. Borgnine never saw Hollywood as a fantasy, but as a workplace that rewarded effort and integrity. While stories of tension and disagreement remain part of his narrative, they do not define him. Instead, his legacy rests on 6 decades of memorable performances, countless collaborations, and an unshakable work ethic. He proved that success didn't require perfection, only persistence. Borgnine's life reminds us that greatness often comes not from avoiding conflict, but from navigating it with honesty, learning from it, and continuing forward with purpose and pride.